We've looked at diagnostic utilities with ping and traceroute. Let's actually look at some other utilities that could provide you information about your networking subsystem or all of the network aspects of your system. The first I want to show you is something called ARP. Now, ARP is the address resolution protocol. We've talked about host names, we've talked about IP addresses. Underneath all of that is something called a MAC address, and it's an address that's attached to your network interface. Address resolution protocol is the protocol that actually matches an IP address to a MAC address. And if I do ARP-A, it's going to show me the ARP table, which means the cached list of entries for those resolutions and those mappings between IP address and MAC address. Anytime I'm talking to a system on my local network, so say between this system and my router, it's all done at the MAC address rather than the IP address. So I need the MAC address in order to communicate with devices on my local network. I can also do route, and I can show the route entries that I've got. And this is really showing me the routing table on my system. In this case, I've actually got two route entries. I've got my default route, which is where I send everything that's not a specific route. And my gateway here is 10.0.0.1. So that's where everything goes that is not destined for this network, which is my local network. My local network, I'm just going to send locally, and I'm going to send it out my local interface ETH0. Anything that's local goes to this route. Anything else goes to this gateway, and that gateway or my router is going to handle that. So I can look at my routing table on my system using route. I can also use netstat, and that's going to show me the same sort of thing. If I do netstat -rn, it's going to show me my routing table. I can also look at things like all of the systems that my system is talking to. And you can see there's a lot of streams here that are connected. This is actually communication that's happening locally on my system. And I've scrolled off the end here, so let me actually pipe this to less so we can see something a little bit more specific. You can see that I've got a number of systems that are listening, and these are services. So I've got actually 445 and 139 are going to be Windows file shares. And then I've got a couple of other ports that are listening. Looks like there was some web traffic that was happening at one point, and I've tried to close that. I can see the communication stream. Actually, let me pop this up and then run it again. So I'm going to go to, now let me run my netstat again, and you'll see I've got a lot of web traffic here that I've actually initiated, and so you can see the connection. Netstat is going to show you all of those network connections and the state that they're actually in, and those network connections can tell you what your system is doing and who it's actually communicating with. Now, I used -n, which just said show me the numbers rather than looking anything up. If I take the n out, it's actually going to do resolutions of host names. And this may take a second as it's trying to resolve everything. And now we've resolved everything. You can see that I've got a lot of names here to the different web servers. In this case, you can see HTTP, HTTPS. These are web servers that my system is communicating with. Just looking at an IP address isn't going to help you a ton. You really want the IP address, and so you probably want to do just a -a, which is going to give you everything, rather than doing the AN, which is just going to give you IP addresses. That could actually be faster and give you a sense of what's going on. If you want to know specifically where it's communicating to, drop the N and it will actually resolve the IP address for you. Netstat, route, ARP, all great network information utilities you can use to do some diagnostics as well as troubleshooting. So another set of good utilities for you to know.